sort of like a reminiscence of when I was a kid, and my dad would. My dad made a promise that he was gonna come home, or my mom told me that he was spending the night only on the weekends because he's taking care of my grandmother, his mom, and I made peace to that. And so during the week, I knew I had to be the man.
Yeah.
Many times I knew I had to be the man in the house. And I would dearly wait for the weekend to see him. And he would show up. And everything was great until we got older, and then he stopped coming over on the weekends. And that was so hurtful. Like, that would hurt me so much. Like, I would wake up and, like, sometimes I wake up and, like, be like, oh, he's here. Like, hear a voice of a man, and I'm like, oh, my dad is here. And that would bring so much peace. Like, I would feel so safe. And then it was Christmas time. Like, we waited for my dad until 12, and he didn't show up. And he showed up late, like 12:30, and drunk. But after the work that we've done, now it's only love and compassion towards him. Like, okay, I understand now. Like, okay, like, there's no need for me to have resentment towards you for what you did. However, there's still pain inside of that little Walter. There's still, like,
hurt.
Yeah.
Is it all right to release the hurt today?
Yeah.
Walter?
Yeah, because it's so hurtful to rely on someone and to not come through. Like, if you give me your word, you're gonna be here, and you don't show up. That was so hurtful, because now I knew that. Now I needed to be on alert. Now I needed to be on survival mode. I can now relax now. And it's like, it wasn't just hurting for me, it was for my brothers and sisters. Like, it's Christmas, like, I have such a high expectation for my dad, and, like, we're on the table, my mom purposely sat us all on the table with the food. No one is gonna eat until your dad arrives. And, like, you don't show up at 12, like, that was so messed up. And I'm like, okay, so no resentment, it's his journey. He was doing whatever, love and compassion towards him. But I was hurting so much. And, like, I felt so embarrassed. Like, for my brothers and sisters, like, I felt so bad for them too. And, like, I felt bad for my mom too. Like, she was so disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of man is this that does this to his family? And so, like...
And the thing too, Walter, is you were unable to fix it. You couldn't do anything in that situation to make it better.
Yeah.
So you felt that sort of frustration and shame for yourself that you couldn't help. You couldn't. You were helpless.
Yeah.
You were helpless.
Yeah. I couldn't make it right for him.
Or them.
Yeah.
Is it all right to release this hurt today,
Yeah.
Walter?
Yeah. I want to let it go so bad. I don't want it in my life.
So float over your timeline, over the past, to that event, floating above the scene. You're waiting, and you're feeling the hurt. You're feeling the hurt of your siblings, of your mother. You're so ashamed and so embarrassed that he didn't show up. And you want so badly to be able to do something to help. And there's not a thing that you can do.
So much hope that he would show up.
Ask your unconscious mind, Walter, what is the lesson here that frees you from that hurt and that pain? Floating above the scene. Walter, what do you see now that you didn't see when you were a child? You could never have known.
I'm not in control of people's life. I'm not in control of their decisions.
What he did has nothing to do with you, your siblings, or your mother, does it?
No.
It speaks volumes about him.
Yeah.
And that's not to say it's good or it's bad, Walter. It's just tells you a lot about him. He behaved in the way he behaved because that's the best he could have done. That's the best he could do. And you so badly wanted to save them from the hurt. And you couldn't. You couldn't. And now you know, Walter, that although it seemed very personal to you and your family, and from where you sat, from your model of the world, it was unthinkable to let down an entire family like that. But from his model of the world, it was the best he could do. Can you accept that?
Yeah. I accept that.
He did show. He showed a half hour late. But he came. And maybe that in and of itself took a lot of effort for him. We don't know what was inside of his model of the world.
Yeah. And he was drunk too.
Well, that's it too. You already know that he had this disease called alcoholism. And you know that irresponsible behavior can result from that. An erratic behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Because the alcohol controls them. Right? So it is what it is, and it was what it was. Do you think your dad was suffering too?
Yeah.
Alcoholism affects everybody in the family, doesn't it?
It does.
So it wasn't anything personal, was it?
No.
So go before the event, before the chain of events that led to that event, and I want to ask you, where's that hurt? Is it there, or has it disappeared?
It's disappeared.
So go down inside the event. It's you. How old were you at that time?
I would say 15.
Okay. It's a 15-year-old boy looking through his eyes, looking around at the family, your heart is feeling your siblings, what they want, your mom, and your dad shows up a half hour late, 12:30. Is the hurt there? Or has it disappeared because you realize that your expectation was not realistic? Was it, Walter?
No, it wasn't. That's what it was. It was an expectation.
Your expectation was that he was going to behave the way you would behave. Because you knew what it meant to your younger siblings and yourself and your mother. It's Christmas. You knew what that meant. And your expectation was that he would also. Right?
Yeah.
So the lesson is to adjust your expectation. Right, Walter?
Yeah. Yeah.
So where's the hurt? Is it there? Has it
There's no
disappeared?
hurt. No. I
No
release
hurt?
that expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dad may or may not show up. And it's very probable he will not be on time if he shows up. Because that's how it's always been. For all the time you've known him. Isn't that right?
Yeah. Since the moment I was born.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's no hurt here. You expect him to be exactly who he had been for as long as you've known him. Right?
Yeah.
So go before the event, before the chain of events that led to that event, and come back to now, above your timeline, as quickly as you can release all of that hurt on all of the events, all the way back to now. And when you're ready, come down into now and into the room and open your eyes when you're here. How are you?
Wow. How powerful I feel right now to know that at such a young age I had the opportunity to hold this, to be the strong figure of my family. To remove that expectations. Expectations are, I created them for them according to my own values and standards, or what I think is right, or how things should be. And that's just not serving me.
Yeah.
I should be grateful, like replace that with gratitude, grateful that he came home and that he was safe. Something bad could have happened to him.
Yeah, you're accepting him for who he is and who he isn't, Walter. Which is just as powerful.
Yeah.